So one part of your brain is smart, and the other part is dumb. You can trick your own brain. That's how dumb the dumb part is. It's in the same head. That's embarrassing. It's like, you don't hear this going on, dude?
Have you ever been to a stand-up comedy show and wondered how someone is able to make other people laugh? Or perhaps you were awestruck by how the writer of your favorite comedy movie was able to identify exactly what a whole bunch of strangers will find funny. Let's quench some of that curiosity in this video. Humor is a human experience that is very effective in elevating one's mood, building friendships, and easing stress or anxiety. However, humor is also a very subjective and complex phenomena. What one finds funny differs across people, and it is complex because it is hard to point out why something was funny. Was it the topic? Was it because everyone else was laughing? Was it the sentence structure, or was it the body language of the presenter? Despite humor's subjectivity and complexity, researchers would love to understand it better in order to unlock some of its benefits. Therefore, philosophers, psychologists, and cognitive scientists have taken up the challenge of attempting to pinpoint the most fundamental ingredients of a funny joke. So let's dive in and see what people have observed and theorized so far. Ancient thoughts on humor. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato viewed humor as a way of mocking others or expressing aggression and ridicule towards others. For example, in Plato's Philebus, Socrates says to Protarchus that laughter is a malice that produced pleasure at the shortcomings of her friends, a view that was further echoed by 17th century British philosopher Charles Hobbes. Hobbes, in Human Nature, said that the passion of laughter is a sudden glory, arising from feeling superior to infirmity of others. Ancient thought on humor also exists in form of the Rasa theory in Natya Shastra, the work of ancient Indian sage Bharat Muni, and from the works of 11th century Indian thinker and philosopher Abhinavagupta and his views on hasya or humor. In these works, humor was viewed positively as an integral part of art and literature. Rasa theory discussed how different rasas or emotional experiences, including humor, can be induced in the spectators through the use of vibhava or stimuli, anubhava or involuntary reaction of the performers, and vyabhichari bhava or temporary psychological states displayed by the performers through a voluntary reaction. This was applied in drama or dance and music performances. These works continue to influence the field of performing arts in and around the Indian subcontinent. Yet, present-day research on humor seems to largely unacknowledge or be unaware of this ancient work. There might be many such ancient ideas from around the world that might be missing from common public knowledge, and it would be important to take a look at all of them. It is important to study ancient thoughts and theories of humor because new theories are often inspired from or constrained by older theories, so that they can lead to new perspectives in either case. These theories, along with the new ones, also provide an account of the evolution of thought on humor, which can be quite interesting, as you will see. Classical theories of humor. Borrowing from Hobbes' views on humor, 20th century researchers formulated one of the classic theories of humor called the superiority theory or the disparagement theory. Superiority theory posits that amusement from a joke results from the instillation of a sense of superiority in the audience. According to this theory, the intrapersonal motivation of self-enhancement drives one to find humor in a joke that allows one to feel superior. This theory predicts that the more aggression or ridicule in a joke, the more humor induced by it. I wonder whether the presence of certain jokes in circulation that target specific communities can be explained by this theory.
So don't call her.
If I don't call her, I won't hear the end of it from my parents.
So call her.
How can I call her? You know I can't talk to women.
I'm done. Anybody else?
Give me the phone.
Why?
Just give it to me.
What are you doing?
Don't worry, you'll thank me. Hello, Lalita, Rajkut.
A related theory called disposition theory was given by Zillmann and Cantor in 1976 and has garnered more empirical validation. It says that the joke will be amusing only when its derisive content towards someone is aligned with the already existing attitude of the audience towards that someone. This was validated by a behavioral experiment they conducted in 1972, in which they asked some students and some professors to rate the funniness of the two jokes, each accompanied by a cartoon. Let's see what these jokes were. Joke 1. A student was delivering a long and complex report when the professor arose and asked the student for documentary evidence in support of various claims he was making. The student explained that there was an abundance of evidence which he could easily enough produce, but that of course he did not have it with him. "Well, sir," said the professor, "until you produce the documentary evidence, do you mind if for the time being I call you a liar?" Amid the stunned silence, the student asked the professor for his parents' marriage certificate. The professor, of course, was unable to produce it. "Well, sir," said the student coldly, "until you can produce documentary evidence, would you mind if I call you an obnoxious bastard?" This is end of the joke 1. Now guess what joke 2 was. Joke 2 was exactly same as joke 1, except that the roles of the student and professor were reversed. In joke 1, it was the professor who asked student to produce evidence, and then student went on to call the professor a bastard in a sequence of arguments. In joke 2, it is the student who is asking the professor for the evidence, and then the professor goes on to call student a bastard in a sequence of arguments. What joke do you think the students and the professors rated as the funniest? I guess you guessed right. Students rated joke 1 as funnier than joke 2. Remember that in joke 1, the professor was the antagonist, while the professors rated joke 2 as funnier than joke 1, and recall that in joke 2, the student was the antagonist. At around the same time, Herbert Spencer and Sigmund Freud independently developed similar views of humor as an outlet for the release of tension, pent-up energy, or forbidden libidinal or sexual impulses. This is known as the relief theory of humor. It views humor as cathartic and in a less disdainful way than the superiority theory. This theory predicts that if, for example, one has pent-up aggression, then that person would find a joke with aggressive content funnier than a neutral joke. Some empirical studies have validated, while some have failed to validate this theory. Finally, let me also briefly discuss the Rasa theory. The Rasa theory specifies various stimuli for inducing the experience of humor in the audience in performing arts, such as Vikrit Vesha or unseemly dress, Vikrit Alankara or misplaced ornaments, Dharshtya or impudence, Doshadaharana, pointing out the faults in others, or Asat Prachapa, near obscene utterance, etc. Both superiority and relief theories seem to be in line with the Rasa theory, because these also involved humor stimuli that comprise finding faults in others and the display of aggression and sexual impulses. These theories are interesting to study because they reflect how people thought about humor and how they thought about other people who enjoyed humor. It would be interesting to consider how well these theories were known by general public in their respective time periods, as this could have affected perception towards humor or laughter. Now let's come to the interesting part of this video. Let's discuss some examples. Can you think of how these theories apply to the comedy content you may be consuming in your everyday life? Relief theory may explain the significant part of the comedic element in the shows like The Office, Nathan For You, Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, Curb Your Enthusiasm, or Mr. Bean. often experience embarrassment in our day-to-day lives, and laughing at Mr. Bean making a fool of himself may provide an outlet for said pent-up feelings of humiliation and embarrassment. It might alternatively be explained by the superiority theory, by the way of making one feel better than the character.
I never sucked, but I could do it. I know that. I could do it. It's positive feedback built into the...
If you follow the comedy scene, you may have observed that certain comedians purely rely on sexual innuendos for their routines and still become quite popular. They too may be making use of relief theory because they talk about things that people don't get many opportunities to express otherwise. Relief theory might explain why relatability is an important factor in comedy, if we assume the content we find relatable adequately represents our thoughts and emotions.
Bachelors love banana. It's such an easy fruit to eat. To eat grapes, you need bowl, plate, pani. To eat orange, uska chutney utaro, bandage. Uska bandage utaro. To eat coconut, you need industrial equipment, skilled labor. To eat banana, you need banana.
Some famous comedians like Biswa Kalyan Rath, Nate Bargatze or Zakir Khan seem to often employ this approach. The themes of their material and the minute observations from the common everyday events account for the relatability which is often seen as their main selling point.
Trust me, 6 महीने में I had it all. सब देख लिया मैंने. अबे कौन सा प्यार? कैसी relationship? काहे की खुशियाँ? Relationship का मतलब ही होता है into your own happiness. इसके बाद all you got to worry about is उसकी खुशियाँ, उसका birthday, उसके कुत्ते का birthday, उसका New Year जो कभी तुम्हारा भी New Year था.
Both the superiority or relief theories may explain why we find humor in a diss track or a rant. Whether it be Ryan George's roast of movies in his pitch meetings or Kartik Aaryan's rant about his toxic girlfriend in the movie Pyar Ka Panchnama. Concluding remarks. Now to recap, in this video we discussed ancient views on humor, and these came from Bharat, Muni, Socrates, Hobbes, Abhinavagupta. And then we discussed two classical theories of humor, which were superiority theory and relief theory. Superiority and relief theories are not complete. They explain why the funny content that possesses the ability to provide a sense of superiority or relief is funny. But they do not explain why not all content that possesses these abilities is funny, or why content that does not possess these abilities is also funny. Further, these theories also lack a consideration of the structure of the joke. In other words, these theories rely on the effect of superiority or relief that the content has on the audience to explain its funniness. They do not provide any specification about the content itself that is necessary for humor, like the sentence structure, the vocabulary used, or how the content is narrated. So this is it for this video. Thank you for listening, and do not forget to check back for the second part where I'll talk about the modern theories that better account for different types of verbal humor than the superiority and relief theories, and focus on the structure of the joke. So see you in the next part and have a good day.